Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and I have with me a very special guest today. Today we have Evalee Gertz, the founder of Sia Silk. Evalee, welcome to the show today. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. It's actually Evalee.
Evalee, I was gonna, that's like the one thing that generally I don't have a face-to-face conversation with my guests. Usually it's electronic, communication. And the one thing that doesn't come out is how you pronounce somebody's name, and you get all these different names. So Evalee, apologize.
No worries.
Anyways, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Everybody does it, so don't worry at
I
all.
have no doubt, have no doubt. So you've got a very interesting background here, and it's great doing this show because I get to talk to so many people that come from all over the world, all these different experiences, different ages. You're pretty young for most of the guests that I have, so I like that. It's great. Most of us old guys, we know a lot of stuff, so we talk about a lot of stuff, but the youngsters oftentimes you're like, well, where are they? What's going on? So I'm glad to be working with some folks that are a little younger than myself. And it looks like you've got a great background. You've been involved with painting and art, and you're working on a cabaret show of all things. So tell me a little bit about all of this.
Yeah. So I had a whole career in Los Angeles for 20 years. I was a performer, an artist, and a professional dancer. And yes, I had my own cabaret show that I choreographed, directed, produced, and
Wow.
performed in. So yeah, through that, I also taught yoga all those years. So I really got interested in kind of the health and wellness world and, how things like nutrition and sleep can affect your performance because, it's a very competitive life and
Yeah.
very active and strenuous life. So I really discovered early on that sleep was a really important aspect of that, and that if I didn't get a good night's sleep, I couldn't really perform well. If I was auditioning for, a dance job, I may not get it because I wasn't at my best. And then, performing, dancing late nights and being on tour and traveling all the time, it just takes a real toll on your energy levels. So sleep became a really big priority to me. And I discovered that one of the best tools for sleeping and improving your sleep quality is a sleep mask.
Ah.
Because there are so many benefits to sleeping in complete darkness that we don't really think about, but they're really impactful. Like everything from just, alertness and improved memory, but it's also like hormone regulation, cellular regeneration, lower heart rate, lower risk of heart disease, obesity, lower risk of diabetes, lower risk of depression, increased longevity. So there's anti-aging benefits to getting better sleep and to sleeping in total darkness specifically. So, you could like spend a bunch of money and outfit your house in blackout curtains or whatever, unless you live like
Right.
out in the country, which most of us aren't lucky enough to do.
Right.
It's a lot easier and cheaper to just invest in a really good quality sleep mask. And I tried every mask on the market, it feels like, and I really couldn't find one that worked for me. Um I have long lashes, I have a small head, so they just like didn't fit, or they smashed my eyes, they were uncomfortable, they didn't really block out light. And then like the cheaper masks with synthetic materials would always make me break out, not really good for your skin. So then I looked into silk masks and they just kind of were flimsy and didn't fit well and didn't function well. So I eventually decided to create my own sleep mask.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I designed a sleep mask, and it's a unique design. So it has really deep eye cups, larger than standard eye cups. It's made from really high quality 100% mulberry silk, which has actual anti-aging benefits. And it's adjustable. The actual shape of it is larger than your standard eye cup or standard mask. So it has better coverage and thicker padding. So it really does block out light and conforms to your face. It's really comfortable and luxurious. And it's the only mask I've ever used that actually worked for me. So I'm really proud of it.
Nice. So I don't know much about masks, and after this conversation, I'm gonna explore the darkness of my sleeping. I've been pretty blessed. I sleep easily, so just whatever. If things are happening and I'm tired, I'm just like, sorry guys, I'm going to bed, and I don't even worry if the light's on or not. I just go to sleep. And I've been very fortunate that way, but I know a lot of people are not. And I know there's been times in my life when you're going through a lot of stress, or you're putting yourself through a lot of rigors, stress, sleep gets more difficult. Um, and I know that there's a lot of conversation about, how to get better sleep. And there's things like, red light and blue light and all these, and then that's not even to get to the noises. You know, I'm fortunate I live in a rural place, so it's not that noisy out here, and it gets pretty dark at night, but there's still, lights on, and there's still electronics in the house, and all of these things happen, and they all affect you. I was in a place in my life where I was in a very loud and noisy and bright place for a little while that was difficult to sleep. And I remember how hard it was to sleep because of that. The lights just never seemed to turn off, and it was always loud. And you're just like, geez, can I just get some peace? It's like compartmentalizing, like your body has all these inputs, right? And these senses that are bringing in data, and you're processing it and evaluating it and making decisions based on it and all of these things. And then all of a sudden it's supposed to all turn off, and
Yeah.
then you go to sleep. And it just seems like you go from all these things happening to now nothing happening just like that. And it seems almost impossible in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely lucky that you are able to just fall asleep so easily. But even though you sleep okay, like you're probably not getting as deep or restorative of sleep or
Right,
regenerative of sleep as you could be because that light, like our eyelids are really thin and they're really not meant to like filter out light.
right,
We're meant to sleep in total darkness. So, um, just eliminating even any ambient light, the street lamp outside your house or like the smoke detector light or the light from your alarm clock, those all can actually be affecting you and
right.
preventing your body from actually being able to regenerate in the way that it really needs to so that you are at your optimal health and able to perform your best and feel your best when you wake up. Um, so yeah, there's so many benefits to it. And you're right about the light. Like the blue light is a real thing. You're
Mhm.
probably lucky being out further in the country, but like here in the city, you can't escape it. Like there are, you know, digital signs and street
Oh
lamps,
yeah.
and LED lights, and
Yeah,
yeah,
you get into the city and it's just everything's blinking and flashing and pulsing, and people don't even realize that when lights flicker off and on, they can affect your brain in an
absolutely.
impactful way, and some people have problems with that, so there's a
Yeah.
lot going on. It's no wonder that the world is in the crazy state it's in with all of this super stimulation going on.
I totally agree. I mean that those lights really stress your brain and stress your eyes, and that like takes a toll on your nervous system. And so then you're not like really centered and regulated, and then you're
Right.
showing up in society that way. So yeah, I mean that's a big part of why I like to like go on to these podcasts and talk about the importance of getting sleep and getting better sleep because I think that when we're well rested, we're better regulated and we show up as a better version of ourselves, and that has a positive impact on our society.
Oh, 100%. When you go into the different stages of sleep, your body enters cycles, and people don't even realize that, you have this um, cycle that goes on in your brain where it actually cleans the plaque out. But if you don't get the right kind of sleep, it doesn't turn on.
Yeah,
And so some of the long-term problems that people have as they get older, or they've suffered, traumatic brain injuries or whatnot, that this this system, I think it's called the glymphatic system, that turns on while you're in a certain stage of sleep. And if you eat in a certain way, or you don't get into a certain pattern of sleep, it just stays off. And I have those problems keep collecting. And, the other side of it is your immune system goes to work when you go to sleep. So, while you're running around causing all the problems to your body while you're awake, your immune system kind of holds back and tries to, fend off
Yeah.
as it can. But when you go to sleep and your body says, okay, now let's re reassess everything, and let's reconnect. And you got neural pathways being reconnected, you got muscles being rebuilt, you've got organs being, there's all these systems that go on. And
Yeah.
I know in my world, if I didn't get sleep, when I was younger, whatever, we pull an all-nighter and just power through it, and be a little groggy, drink an extra cup of coffee, and you're fine. As you get older, your recovery time to everything seems to take longer and longer. And, you have a bad night and you wake up and you're like, geez, I don't want to get out of bed today at all, And so I believe, especially as we get older, the importance of sleep is powerful. I have spoken about sleep numerous times in this podcast, and ways to look at it and ways to approach it. And this isn't something that I ever really delved into. So this is kind of cool. So when you became aware that this was a thing, so you're going through performing and you're up late at night, and then you're realizing that, man, I need to get better sleep. There was that moment that you just like, you said, this isn't working for me. I got to make a change. And, you started trying these different sleep aids or sleep masks. I don't really know much about the sleep mask world. So like, are there, in most cases with goods, products that are made, there's levels of quality. So you can go to, whatever, Temu, and get the one that was, made by 6-year-olds in China and lasts for 3 uses and falls apart and gives you scabies or whatever. And then you go up to your Amazon version where, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. You take your chances and find out. And then you get these, boutique, foo-foo brands that maybe have the fancy material or maybe some little twist to it. Is it like that, or is there a different sort of world to it?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. That's exactly what it's like. There are so many masks, and I think as awareness has grown in the last like year or two, there have been a lot more that have come onto the market. But yeah, that was definitely my journey with it. It was like I found so like the cheaper synthetic masks for me had better functionality. They just were shaped better, they were adjustable, they like blocked light better. But they, like I said, they were synthetic materials. They caused me to break out, and they were cheap. So like when you washed them, they fell apart. And so that was like a big issue. And then I started looking into silk, because silk does have a lot of benefits. That's not only less absorbent, so it like maintains your skin's moisture, but it actually has been shown to like speed up cell turnover. So if you have an injury and you bind it in silk, your injury will heal faster. So silk is really beneficial for your skin and for your hair. So I looked into silk masks and I found the functionality really sucked. And then, like you said, there's a huge variety in the quality. So you can find a silk mask that's $10, but it's maybe not 100% silk. It might be mixed with something that's, satin or whatever. And you're not going to get the same benefits. And the quality of the workmanship and the shape and is it adjustable? All of that can affect like how well it works for you and how comfortable it is and how much light it blocks out. So yeah, there really is, it's worth investing in a good one to get the most out of it. And especially when you look at it compared to like outfitting your whole house with blackout curtains, you could buy a
Oh
$60
yeah,
mask.
yeah, whatever, a $30 mask, or $4,000 for some
Exactly.
blankets up on your walls.
Yeah, exactly. And like, getting like ours are 60, and like it's really high quality silk, and it's going to last you at least 6 months if you take care of it, if not longer. So,
Nice.
that's a good investment, and that's a lot cheaper than spending money on blackout curtains. And or you could buy the, $20 one that might last you a month and just do an okay job. So,
Right. So when you're going along, you had this experience, and you're trying out all these things, and you're going, okay, well, this is better than that one. This is better than. like what happened where you decided, hey, wait a minute, this is like, I see it. This is my vision. Like, you've gone from being a performer to a manufacturer. It's a
Yeah.
totally different world. Like, there's nothing about one that prepares you for the other and vice versa. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's like somebody, like I'm a farmer. I grow, medicinal plants and I formulate products, and those are things I love to do. And so I do them. And I come from a wide background. Real estate finance and construction, all these things I've done, but they didn't have anything to do with these things that I've done, except for learning how to solve problems, I guess. As an entrepreneur, you learn how to approach things and how to think and how to resolve issues, but in a broad way.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely relate to that. I definitely feel like when I decided to create the sleep mask and start this business, it was really taking a huge leap into the unknown. It was so vastly different from anything I'd done before. But like you, like I had my own cabaret show, so I know what it was like to be a producer and to create something and to coordinate and to,
Right.
hire people and figure out all the working parts to make that work. So it's just applying that skill set in a different way, but it's definitely been a really big learning curve and big long journey of figuring out as I go, but it's been fun and challenging um and yeah, and it really was because I couldn't find a mask that I felt like really worked. Like the ones that were high quality silk, I didn't feel like they had deep enough eye cups where it just wasn't comfortable. It didn't block out light. They weren't adjustable, so they just didn't stay on my head during the night. And I was just like, this is dumb. I want something that actually works, and I can't be the only one feeling this way.
For
So
sure.
I took the leap into figuring out how to manufacture it myself. And
So it looks like in 2022, so between 2 and 3 years ago is when you really launched this. And that was right as the pandemic was sort of winding itself out a little bit, but the supply chain was just a nightmare at that point. So as a manufacturer, I've gone through this, total having to retool some things, having to find new suppliers and dealing with, different costs of things and all of that with the last 5 years of trying to do business. How did you deal with that? Like, and I don't, without, divulging your trade secrets or anything, I just, there's a place where you go, there's this thing that is a good idea. I don't care for the way this thing is that I can get. I have a better idea. I think I want to make this thing and make it available. Well, there's this gigantic leap that goes from this thought to, oh, here's the thing, let me show you. So, did you just start buying fabric and cutting things out, or I mean, how do you go from one to the other?
that's a great question. I think honestly, I think there was a lot of naivety involved, and that worked in my benefit, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like right as the pandemic was winding down, but like it was the pandemic that really kind of put me into retirement in terms of dance. Like I just
All
couldn't
right.
make a living. So I was like,
Right.
need to find another way to do this. And then yeah, I just started looking at manufacturers and suppliers. So I looked at like the masks that were on the market and where they were getting manufactured. And I reached out to a bunch of those factories, and then I had them send me samples and I talked to them, and it was a pretty long process of like developing the product because I wanted to make sure I had a factory that I trusted, that I felt like there was good communication with, that had good quality product. And then I like started talking to them about how I specifically wanted to differentiate, because I didn't want to just send out, yeah, my proprietary plan to a bunch of places and
Oh
risk
yeah.
someone
That
off.
they're
So
just going to
yeah,
take it, sell it to the next 10 guys that come through.
exactly.
Next,
Yes.
somebody with a great marketing team comes and steamrolls you. I know that personally. In my years of being an entrepreneur, I've had that happen to me a couple of times. I got this great idea, started using it, proof of concept, and apparently somebody saw it. And next thing I know, this thing's on the market right next to my idea. And I'm like, whoa, who did that? Maybe it's just dumb luck, who knows? But I I know that you gotta hold good information a little close to the vest, or there's people that are just looking to take it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's very competitive and it's unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. But I have been lucky so far,
Hmm.
but it's also been challenging. Like I'm just one person, like this little startup, and
Yeah,
I'm competing against brands that have a lot more money and are a lot more established. So that's been a really big challenge, especially in terms of like marketing and getting the word out. Like this is a better product, but like why should you listen to me over this name brand that you already know?
100%. That's actually one of the reasons I do this podcast. I talk about my products once in a while. Most of the time I talk about other things, but it's just a place, you know, we live in this world where when I was growing up, if you wanted information, you had to go to a book
Mhm.
or you'd listen to the TV and, either trust it or not. But that's where information came from, or you talked to somebody who knew different. That was pretty much it. And then as information has, become easier to come by, the quality of information becomes out
Mhm.
there completely. And so I just thought if we could create a platform where we can have conversations about things that affect us all, which is health and quality of life and all the aspects of it, somebody with a discerning ear can listen and hopefully wade through this and determine, I go out of my way to vet um, guests that have at least not a conflict of interest, like a company that's funded by a major pharma company or a chemical company or something that is where we get most of our information from. And you're like, wow, like you are making your money doing this, but you're telling me this other thing, and I'm going to believe you because why?
Oh
And
my God. I love that. And I couldn't agree more.
yeah, yeah, and it's just the way it is. So I'm like, well, let's just get these little guys, people that are, starting out, people that are sharing experiences. I like the story about how you got to where you're at because that's your motivation for doing what you're doing. And most people's motivation is, well, I need to make a living. Okay, cool. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But if your motivation goes deeper than that, then you might be doing a better job. I don't know. It's just the thought, and
I like that.
that's where we try to bring in people that just are building and growing and want to reach an audience that is looking for some good information. So and that comes to this, world that I live in too, where I've got the companies that make inferior products to what I make, but they have these marketing machines that just steamroll everybody. And nowadays it seems almost like they're adapting to the new world of influencers and all these things, and they're just penetrating every little way. So us regular little guys that are just going, well, I have something great. I'm here in America. I'm supposed to be able to make my dreams happen. Let's do it, right? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what this is all about. So and once you were happy with this product, um, how long did that take to go from, you're in talks with manufacturers to, all right, you come up with some kind of a contract, some sort of a agreement of what they're going to do, what you're going to do, how that's going to work, and then you pull the trigger on it. And obviously you have to pay first before you get anything. So there's this leap of faith and maybe investors involved or whatever your model is. Most of us just bootstrap it and make it happen. And that's what I've done. It looks like based on your nods, that's what you've done. So that's, man, that's you come to this place of reckoning where you're like, okay, here we go. Here's all my money. And, I hope you do what you're supposed to. How did that go from that moment?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big leap of faith. It was scary for sure. It took about 6 months and I sold my car to pay for the
Okay,
first round of inventory to launch the
got
business.
it.
So yeah. And then I used that money to buy the inventory with. So it was definitely like a cross your fingers and hold your breath type of thing. But it luckily has gone well. We launched first on Amazon and
Okay, good.
Amazon is problematic, but it also provides you with an amazing audience that I wouldn't have had access to otherwise. And that allowed me to build it enough to then now we have our own Shopify store. And
Oh, good, good, good. So the relationship with your manufacturer is working out well. you're
Yeah,
able to keep
so far it's been
inventory in
really
place,
good. Yeah.
and you're able to run this without having to physically handle all the working parts, and that's the best way if you can make that happen. I I do the opposite of that. I touch everything that I make, so it's everything is involved with my, my thing, and it makes everything so much more complicated. And I don't have, the ability to do a lot of things that you'll be able to in managing this. So this product that you have, it's a single product.
Yeah, so it's the sleep mask. It comes with a little travel bag to keep it safe on the go. And then the whole thing comes in like a beautiful gift box. So it makes a great gift, but it's also just great to have.
And the price point on this?
We usually sell it around 60.
Okay. Fantastic. So basically, Amazon, we look up Sia Silk, and that's the product name.
That's the product name. Yeah, Sia Silk is the business. The best place to get it is from our Shopify store, and that's just siasilk.com.
Fantastic. Well, Evalee, I think that this is great. I'm going to explore, um, you know, about the darkness element of sleep myself, and I think that you have a great product. I'm gonna look into it myself, and consider this a resource that I can forward people over to. And we get a lot of people that pop in for all different reasons. We're in the process of establishing Willow Springs Wellness, that is a network of businesses and practitioners that are all focused on sort of this holistic approach to health. And I'll consider including that into our resources.
That would be great. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, Evalee, it's been a pleasure as well, and thank you so much. And we will talk to you very soon. Why don't you give us the website again of your Shopify store?
Sure, it's just siasilk.com. That's SIA silk.com.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you coming out and having this conversation, and we will talk to you guys next time. Thank you for supporting the Healthy Living Podcast by Willow Creek Springs.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.